article entitled Female Entrepreneurs in Their Own Businesses, and this is written by an Afghani female journalist, Sonia Asatyar. So this story is really interesting and has kind of a personal effect for me, just because I've been to Afghanistan on 3 occasions and traveled a lot through Kabul and saw women in burqas, and it's very severe, and it has been severe for women there for decades. And our war, which is the longest war in American history, really hasn't done that much to help. It's helped a little, but not the way we would like to think it did. But what this story is talking about is mainly about this woman, Maryam Almarkil, who is she's worked to become an Afghan businesswoman. She now runs this company, Zartaw Viewing Company in Kabul, the private company whose main products are Afghan dresses, both traditional garb and modern dresses made in Afghanistan, has 9 employees and 1 female representative in each of the country's 34 provinces. That's a big deal. Her goal is to strengthen and sustain women's economic status throughout the country, but she knows most women do not have the option to follow her path. So one of the things is the Taliban does not want girls to get educated. And if you do go out into the world as a woman to try to work, you face getting harassed, raped, and then shamed, like, oh, you let yourself get raped. Kind of awful shame, awful treatment. So this woman is taking a huge risk, and the other women that are doing this are taking a huge risk. And I mean, I remember personally, and it was briefly in my documentary Afghanistan, we were in a truck, we were driving through Kabul, which was a crazy experience, and we were pulling into this like checkpoint to get into one of the embassies, and I had the camera. I was just sort of shooting like, what was going on in the streets, and there was this like 10-year-old girl who popped. She was going to come over and sell me something, but saw the camera, and she was like, oh God, cover the camera. And I was like, oh, sorry. And it was my first time there. I didn't realize this. And a female soldier that was with us was like, oh, if her brothers or dad or something see her get videotaped, she'll get beaten for allowing herself to get videotaped. And so I turned the camera off, and she came over to the car and sold us, like, we bought these little necklaces that I have, and it's like a little heart thing, and I would wear it every time I go over there. And so I just saw it just in a small little level of that, and how oppressive it is, and it's still very oppressive. So this is what makes this story even more amazing, that this woman is doing this. Now, there's also a really cool documentary called Afghan Star that I've mentioned, I think, once or twice before on this show, and I highly recommend watching. It's sort of a American Idol in Afghanistan, and they were trying to and the whole country got behind it. Oh my God, who's going to win? And there was a woman on it, and she did that, shook her shoulders. So here's a quote from this woman, Almarkil. Businesses run by women are likely to skyrocket, she said, but while women want to enter the business sphere, there are no social norms that support it. You can't imagine how tough it is to be a businesswoman in Afghanistan. No Westerner can. There's no Westerner that could possibly know what this is like. Even if a woman has a supportive partner or coworker, discrimination and security remain major issues in the workplace. Almarkil considers herself fortunate that she has not yet faced the prejudice many other women experience from sexual harassment, rape, and loss of good reputation or shaming. The shameful feeling keeps women from going outside the home for work and getting an education. And she's aware of these forces in the Afghan society, and she knows that as ironing out the issues will take time. So she talks about she used to be one of these little girls living in the village, and now she's an inspiration to them, a brave Afghan woman charting a new course of action even as the Taliban regime seeks the continued subjugation of women. Quote, as Afghan women, we have the right to an education, to own businesses, and to be self-confident, Almarkil said. In order to get an education, I left behind a difficult home situation. I greatly pity the village girls who are unable to go to school. Can't go to school. Under the Taliban, few girls have been able to attend work or school outside their homes, so many are homeschooled in secret. And this is because of decades of conflict. And then you go into, they interview some other entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and what they're going through and the things they face. And also then the journalist, this woman talks about, I'll right here, being a journalist in Afghanistan is hard for anyone. And if you're a woman working for a mainstream media outlet, the job is even more difficult. Female journalists, like all Afghan women, face the same issues of inequality, and harassment is a constant battle. Since the National Unity Government came into power in 2014, many cases of violence against female journalists have been registered. A gunman came into a radio station and shot it up in Mazar-e-Sharif, and a journalist was stabbed and killed by assailants while working for NATO's International Security Assistance Force radio station. Yeah, I get some videos demonetized by Google, and it sucks, that's censorship. But I'm not worried about the Taliban coming in here and shooting me. Unbelievable. So, this journalist, and I applaud her for this article, and I applaud truthdig.com for focusing on this, is for bringing this up, and these are the last couple paragraphs on the story. Many Afghans have fled the country because of widespread safety issues, corruption, and economic depravity, but none of that makes me want to leave. When I walk the streets of Kabul, sometimes I see a beautiful city with people smiling and joyous. There are days when I see children upset and struggling with no guarantee of a stable future. I realize I need to help them in some way. I remember that, seeing just orphans. You don't see orphan kids in the streets of a Western country, typically. I remember feeding kids through razor wire outside of this base in Jalalabad. I remember driving through the streets of Kabul, and we would just drop water out and stuff like that. And everyone was like, don't keep the windows rolled up. And it was pretty amazing. And Kabul is like the progressive city. And I saw a woman with a headscarf and her face exposed, and she was wearing a little bit of lipstick. And that was like, wow, that woman is so progressive. Just to give you an idea. But anyway, to finish what this journalist says, Sonia Azatyar, that is my passion as a journalist. I want to help give my people a stronger voice than ever before. I am hopeful for my future and for the future of other Afghan girls. So hats off to you, Sonia, for doing this kind of work. That's bold. You're putting your life at risk to defend the young girls of your country. Thanks for watching the show, everybody.